Federal budget cuts and cuts to housing projects. Let's talk about it on Today in Mortgages. Hey, what is up, Dreammakers? Welcome back to the show. We're talking about what's real, what's hype, and what you should actually be paying attention to out there in the world of mortgage and real estate news. It's Today in Mortgage. And Rich, there's a lot going on. How are you doing, first of all?
I'm doing good. Thank you, Michael. How are you, sir?
You know, I can't complain. We're coming up on summer. I know your daughters will be coming home soon or already on their way, and we're getting geared up for everything there. There's a lot happening that the news will not stop for summer, so we know that. So we're going to keep talking about it. Today, in fact, we're talking about some budget proposals out of the administration that's going to affect some housing programs and projects that are not apparently in alignment with what the administration wants to do. So we're looking at an article from MPA Mag. It says Trump budget proposal targets major cuts to federal housing aid. Rich, I'll let you tee this off. We'll just get to talk about some of the things that are in these cuts and proposals, and then we'll get into some of the knock-on effects. So tell me what's going on here.
Well, keep in mind, these are all proposals, right? Nothing's set in stone. So oftentimes proposals look like, let's trash it all so we have a place to negotiate from, because they're going to be negotiating with Congress and all of that stuff. So it looks bad, definitely, because they're cutting out things that kind of, when you listen to President Trump talk about home affordability and how that initiative is important to him, we're cutting out a lot of affordability, programs. So you cutting $33 billion from HUD. That's a lot of money. That's not just you got too many people at HUD. That means you're cutting out programs that, assist home buyers, young home buyers, generally first-time home buyers, into getting into their properties. So what they're trying to do, Michael, is basically push it down to the states. Okay, every state, you have your own, affordable housing initiatives. You sponsor it all. Federal government doesn't need to be involved. That's what they're saying.
Right. And so that's where the savings come from, and they kind of push that down to the states. And it sounds like some of that funding to the states would still be available. It's just the states are going to get to decide on how those things would be allocated. Like you said, a lot of this stuff has to kind of be approved by Congress. This is just the outline that Trump has gone through and made some cuts and slashes and ideas to. So, Rich, let's talk about some of the knock-on effects here. We're talking about affordable housing and some of those things. Will this really affect the kind of real estate mortgage industry? And if so, how do you foresee these things shaking out?
Sure. If the federal government isn't subsidizing some of these programs and they're pushing it down to the states, then you have to, where are the state budgets on something like this? Like, where are they getting the funds? So that's the thing. I mean, you've got rich states and poor states government-wise, and it just seems that if you're going to cut the federal government out of those initiatives, then I don't want to say poor states, but some of the states that don't have the budgets that allow housing initiatives to happen, then the residents of those states are just not going to have help.
And Rich, one of the other things that we've talked about before is in some of these regulatory mandates that come from the federal government, and cutting those, which in practice sounds like a good idea. We got federalism. We want to push these decisions down to the states. They know their people better. But one of the things in our industry that makes that tough is that now we have to pay attention to 50 different regulatory bodies as opposed to maybe just one at the federal level. It sounds like maybe this would be a similar concern, state by state, different products for different fair housing. What's the knock-on effect for that?
I mean, it just makes it tougher for a lender. A national lender has to understand and manage around all these different initiatives in all 50 states. So it makes it a big challenge, but I'd rather have it be a challenge than having no product, no affordable housing initiatives in each state. So we'll deal with it like we always do from the lender side.
Right. And so, Rich, when we talk about this and other kind of proposals, cuts, wherever it might be, how are we coaching our loan officers through these things and teaching them how to just be the best that they can be?
Well, one, we focus on communication big time. That's very important to us at Network Funding. So what we're doing is just communicating, just like what we're doing on this podcast. We're talking about, hey, this is the news, right? It's not good news or it's good news. And we're kind of highlighting things just so there's an awareness level. Like I open this with saying at the top that this is just proposed from the Trump administration. So, in other words, you always start worst case scenario so that you got some room to negotiate with the opposing parties for something like this. So I expect that while these seem big, they're not going to end up that big because the states are going to know, hey, we can't support these initiatives by ourselves. We need some federal assistance. But again, that's all the sausage making that's going to happen between now and when it comes time to have a budget approved and voted on.
That's always interesting. It's good to have people in your corner that can coach you through these things, like you, Rich, that coach us through these things. If people out there are looking for a place to get pro information like this all the time, where should they look?
Yeah, they should go to join.nflp.com and check us out, but they're more than welcome to reach out to me for a confidential phone call and a little mini behind the scenes tour of network funding. I'd be happy to do that.
Rich, what are some of the kind of qualities of people and loan officers that we're looking for here at the network?
We like people with entrepreneurial spirits. We want them. Like, it's their business. We're here to support them. So we're looking for those that just don't want to be in the big company atmosphere. They want to be in a strong, smaller company where they have a voice, where they're heard, and they can pick up the phone and call the owner. I mean, that's the idea. That's what we promote. We just build our company around our best people. So that's what we've always done, and that's what we'll continue to do.
We always like to say we want you to do more you, but do it at the network. Rich, thanks for making us smart on this. Anything else that you want to say on this or anything else going on in the news right now?
Yeah, I wouldn't freak out. Where you watch the news and depending on your outlet, everything's a different twist. I would just let it sit. All this stuff's being negotiated, budgets, all these programs. We'll see what happens. We've got great lobbyists in our industry that are helping discuss the consequences, right? They're saying, hey, if you do, then this can happen. So all of that happens from now until we get a budget, and then we'll see where we land. Control what you can control. This is not one of them. You can support your agencies that support your industry, like the Mortgage Bankers Association and others, but that's about all you can do at this point.
Definitely want to focus on what you can do and don't dwell on the things that you can't control. So, Rich, thanks for making us smart on that. Thanks for that good word. Thank you, everyone out there, for watching and listening. We'll see you next time on Today in Mortgages. Today in Mortgages is produced by Network Funding LP, which is an equal housing lender, NMLS 2297. The content of this program is meant to be a commentary on mortgage and real estate news, and any discussion of rates and or products should not be taken as an individual mortgage or home buying advice or pricing estimates. And any commentary on this show should not be considered a promise to make a loan. All applicants for a loan must qualify, and you should consult a professional regarding your individual loan scenarios for your financial situation. Visit our website at nflp.com/licenses for all state licensing and other legal information.